have you all here with me. I have a very special guest tonight, Paul Wesley, a.k.a. Prince Truthchaser, is joining us to talk about all things conspiracy-oriented. So I'm just really delighted to bring him on board and say, welcome to the show, Paul.
How are you, Ginger? And I just want to say thank you so much for having me on as a guest, and it is amazing. It's magical being on here tonight, and I think that the reasons why a lot of people don't want to talk about this is because it's really hard to comprehend, but through our vibration, which we're going to get into tonight, we're going to figure out just how amazing it can be to not only accept what's going on, but how we can work through it.
Awesome. I'm so incredibly excited and curious to hear everything you have to say. I watched some of your videos, and you have a lot of videos on YouTube, which are incredible, and you've been on other shows. I listened to a lot of your other shows the last couple of days just to get a feel for what it is that you do and how you do it, and I think there's no better way to introduce you than to say, okay, who is Paul Wesley? What is it that you do? And how did you get started?
You know, it's really easy to say that, you know, it was some really medical event that just got me started. But, I mean, it really was just where do we start? It was just really, it's like, where do we start? It was basically where I got started. You know, just like most people in the world, we come through an upbringing of this is what you're taught to believe, and this is what you're taught to see, and this is your reality. And I think for me, when I first started, the reality, I would say from the cradle, it was from when I was born, it was like, well, this is your reality. And as I got older, I just was always taught I was different. I was always taught I was special. And I think that when I really started to look around, I never really looked at that. And when I really woke up to the fact that things were wrong in the world, I said, well, wow, you know, things are really wrong in the world. So I mean, I can say that I really started when I realized that things are bad in the world and it's time to wake up and make change.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, I really see a lot of people paying more attention to what's wrong in the world because there is so much wrong right now, and it's been coming for a long time. And I don't know if you feel this way, Paul, but for me, there is this undeniable agitation when I watch the news, when I see things like on Yahoo News on the computer, when I log in the morning, and it's talking about these different situations like Syria, chemtrails, poisoning the planet, all the radioactivity going on in Japan, all the nuclear stuff. I look at all of that and I think there's so much going on. How can we, the people, sit back and say, well, that's just fine, let it happen? I think there's a whole lot of people with that kind of agitated rumbling going on saying, this is all screwed up, how can we fix it? Do you feel that way?
I 100% agree with you. I think that the reason that people feel that way is because of the mental conditioning that these negative beings, let's just call them beings, that are doing these things to not only Mother Earth, but to the consciousness of humanity. I think that it's, you know, they're conditioned to believe that, well, what can I do? It's because of self-empowerment. I think through cradle to the grave, for many generations, self-empowerment has been lost. If you look at our ancestors and their ancient hieroglyphics and everything, I mean, these people had technology way ahead of us. And there was self-empowerment there. There was a lot of vibration there. And I think that now, when we look at what's going on now, it's like a whole bunch of, you know, in our face, this is happening, Syria and chemtrails and GMOs, and what can I do? I think that the Great Awakening, when it comes and when it hits you, it's so overwhelming because of the fact that these negative forces have pretty much dumbed us down via water, via food, via information on the internet. I think that, you know, self-empowerment's key, and I think that the elite have taken that from us, but I think that, you know, it all starts from the heart. I really believe that.
I believe that too, and that was well said. So let me just jump in and ask you a big question.
Oh.
And it's kind of a near and dear question to my heart. I know you talk a lot about aliens and influences from aliens. So do you feel that our government is setting us up to have interactions with aliens and are kind of bringing that to the forefront because we absolutely are going to need outside help to save our planet?
I love you so much for just getting into the meat and gravy of this, because I want your viewers to really understand that self-empowerment is key. And I think that throughout history, society has been so subconsciously dumbed down to the fact that we need to rely on government and politicians and other people and, you know, to help us. And I think personally to everyone who hears this that we don't need, yes, I believe deep down in my heart that there are negative beings that are in connection and connected with the government. Yes, I believe this. And I also believe that they are going to stage an event or say, hey, you know, these beings are here to help us. And I think that because of the dumbed down stage that humanity is in, relying on government, relying on religion, which is, we're not even going to get into religion because, wow, but relying on, you know, issues to where we need a savior. And I think that the true ETs that have seeded humanity, that have made us the love beings that we are, the creation that we are that was made out of love, I think that, you know, basically we're not going to hear from them. We're going to hear from the government basically saying, hey, look, these ETs are here. They're here to save you. They're going to stage an event, whether it be World War III or a solar, you know, Nibiru or whatever people say. And I really believe that we're going to be giving the option for help. Now, when we're given this option for help, that takes away our self-empowerment and gives it to these beings. Now, what we have to understand in a universal aspect of all this is that once you give away your free will, regardless if it's to humans or whether it's to other beings, once you give away your free will, that's it. That's a contract. And so positive beings can't interact and help us because we, as individuals, had said, okay, well, help us. Now, okay, say that we do that and they do help us. They may have another agenda. And I think that I really live and die off of self-empowerment and love vibration, and I believe that that is their card. That's their ace up their sleeve. If all else fails, yes, I believe that these beings that are they're in contact with, who are against free will or against Mother Earth and who are against love vibration, are going to be pulled out and say, hey, look, we're going to help you. And I think that we have a rough road ahead of us as beings, and maybe this is an experience for the soul, which I believe life period is, and some of us will pass and some of us won't. But yes.
Do you feel like aliens are already here influencing us? Because I do.
Sister, I really do. I believe that they have been here, I wouldn't say for thousands of years, no. I believe that these beings that are here, some of them have seeded us and gave us a love vibration thousands of years, yes. But I also believe in what's called time travel technology, especially with the Grey Zetas. I believe that they've only been here for about, 60-some years maybe, and they have the, you have to realize they have the technology to manipulate history, to manipulate events, and I believe that they have been here as far as most people who sleep say, yes, they have been here. Are they here? Yes. Is their agenda for the humanity? Absolutely not, because if it was, our trees wouldn't be dying, our skies wouldn't be sprayed, our food wouldn't be poisoned. And people may say, oh, well, you know, with depopulation, you know, we have to keep the population at 7 million, we're running out of resources. Sweetheart, we're running out of resources, not because we are, you know, using too much of it. We're running out of resources because the beings that are in control right now are raping the planet of what Mother Earth has to offer, and that's love vibration. And Yeah, yes, definitely there are beings here, and they've been here for a little while, and it's a rough road.
It is a rough road. And do you feel like those beings would just like to bypass all the government BS and just say, howdy, we're here? Because I used to live in Kiowa, in eastern Colorado on the plains, and I had a horse ranch out there. And in Colorado, where it was very flat, it wasn't mountainous, the snows would come, and I lived in this little tiny trailer that I traded rent for care of horses for. And my daughter was with me, and in the wintertime, when the blizzards would come into Colorado and blow across the eastern plains, there would be bright lights in the sky above our trailer, and it would shake like it was in an earthquake, and the horses would literally scream in the field. It was the creepiest noises I ever heard in my life. And my daughter and I would get very dizzy and not feel right, and my dogs would go hide. And in the mornings, when it was all over with and the lights, there were a lot of light. And it wasn't like helicopter lights. It was like flashing, rainbowish kind of weird lights. And we would think something's out there because it just felt so odd, and the animals all reacted so poorly. And it happened every time there was a blizzard where you couldn't see anything but white. The next day we'd go out to feed horses, and there would be horses down in the pasture, 5 fences down, all barbed wire fences. They couldn't get over the fences without getting really hurt, and they were mutilated. And the vet would come out to tell us what was wrong with our horses that were all the way down in these low pastures that they couldn't have got to any other way other than being lifted up and dumped there. And the vet wouldn't tell us anything. And the farmers, the ranchers, they wouldn't say anything. And I always thought, all right, so they're finding out what we're all about. They're finding out what kind of species are here. And they want to say hello. They want to say, hey, we're here. Y'all need to pay attention. How do you feel about that?
Well, first of all, I feel that as far as would the government being involved in this and would the government stop, but I think that the government basically sold us out for a couple herd of cattle for technology. I think that when you're talking about a negative group of beings and they decide, hey, look, the galaxy as it is, it's a galaxy of rules, it's a galaxy of honor, and it's a galaxy of trade. And I think that as long as you know how to work around the loopholes, I guess you'd say, then everything's fine. And I think that what happened was that basically these ETs who did introduce themselves said, hey, look, you want our technology, you want to travel the universe, fine. Let us take a couple of herd of cattle, experiment on them, and do what we have to do. And I think that as far as animals are concerned, I think that actually animals can sense things. And I think that's where humanity as a whole has been taken away from who we truly are, which is oneness with Mother Earth and oneness with the animals and creation. And I think that the government, and they know this, but you have to understand when you give a couple of people power, they decide, well, hey, look, it doesn't matter as long as we have the power and we do what we want. And I think that basically they want to go ahead and say, well, we're going to travel the universe, we're going to have control over the masses, and pretty much the aliens that we made the agreement with can pretty much do whatever they want with whoever they want. But the problem that lies within that is that it affects them too, because these beings are way ahead of us. These beings are not of low vibration. These beings, if you look at the work of Carl Turner, if you look at the work of Phil Schneider, they both have been killed, murdered, whatever, cancer, heart attack. Anyone who decides to actually introduce the truth and bring forth the truth is pretty much taken care of. And you have to ask the question, well, why is that? And then the answer for why is that is because, well, the answer for why is that people that are in power, these bloodlines that are in power, who have been in power for a little while, and we have to understand, like I said about time travel. I mean, I personally think that these things have only been here for about 65, 70 years. But then again, if they time travel, anything is possible. I mean, I think that regardless of what's happening right now, I am an inductee survivor myself. I broke free from that. People have came up to me and said, dude, you're Pleiadian. I said, I don't even want to hear it. I said, I'm me. I'm here to do my job for humanity. And I hear a lot of people say, well, you know, I can't wait to go home. I can't wait to ascend. Listen, I don't want to go home. I want to do my job here, and I want to bring this planet up to love vibration. And guess what? When I die, give me a month in happiness, and then bring me back to reach down and bring as many people up again as I can. I mean, you know, I've been given the gift to actually see things. Like, I never consider myself like psychic. Mm-hmm. If you ever watch the movie, the last Men in Black movie, there was a guy that was there. He had like a mechanical brain, and he said to Will Smith, he said, well, all right, 3 things are going to happen here. This guy's going to, Brutus, I think his name was. He said, Brutus is going to come in, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, and this is going to happen. Well, that's what I can do. You know, I look at my life and I see different scenarios. Like, okay, Paul, well, you know, this is going to happen. Which way are you going to take? And when I first started activism, I was very angry, very bitter, because I've seen the agenda, I've seen what unfolded, and that bitterness and aggression and the anger went to understanding, and then the understanding went to love, and then it went back to anger, and then it just went back to love. And I think that is what they fear. The reason that there's wars, the reason that there's poverty, the reason that there's chemtrails is because they want to inflict Mother Earth and us as things with so much negativity as possible, so that way when the Great Awakening does happen, you have a melting pot of negativity. So not many people ascend. Thus we're trapped as souls in this circle, this planet, third-dimensional negativity. So we're trapped here. And I think that that's the thing. Like, when you hear people say, oh, yeah, serious, oh, blah. No one's offering love. Where's the love? That's what I want to know. That's what I want to talk about. And it's not there. And the reason that it's not there is because they want to trap us in this fear. They want to manifest a fear reality. And you know, the alien thing is 100% there, and these beings are negative. Now, are there positive beings? Absolutely. But they only operate on free will. We have to understand that, you know, until we, and this is so hard, until we as a collective consciousness, until we accept free will, until we accept love in our hearts, we're not going to be able to interact with these things because we're so bombarded by this fear. So, but the animals completely. I'm going to let you go. But the animals do. Yes, the animals do. I have 2 daughters. One that's really young and one that's in her late teens. Who they love what I do and they see what I do, and love is key. And you know, but animals can see. Yes. So
yes, they can. So you were talking about chemtrails. Let's talk about that for a minute, because there was a time when I lived over in a farming community here in South Carolina, and we were talking about this yesterday when we were getting to know each other on the phone a little bit before the show, and I was telling you that sometimes the sky would just smell bad, and there would be these streaks in the sky, and I didn't really know what it was. And I've been a follower of yours on Facebook for a long time.
Which is amazing. I mean, when you told me that, not to cut you off because my motor's running 50,000 miles an hour, that is amazing. Thank you so much.
You're welcome so much, because you posted an article about chemtrails. And I had never heard of chemtrails before, because I fondly call South Carolina the you don't need to know anything state, ever. So I was grateful to read that, because the planes would come down over the crops. They grow a lot of corn here, a lot of onions and potatoes, ground crops, and they spray them constantly. And where I lived, the planes would come and spray, and I would be sick for days, and my animals were sick. But we would also have these planes that would fly higher up and leave these long trails of stuff, and they had a weird smell to them, and I would notice it because it gets really hot here in the summertime, and the smell would be overwhelming. When I read your article, I thought, that's what that is, and that made me follow you, because I thought, they're doing something so evil, and we don't know it.
Yes, and let me tell you something, sister. When I first started out, I actually first started out with the chemtrail agenda. And what bothered me was I seen the clouds, and I'm like, well, we're being sprayed like bugs. And what they seem to be doing, truly seem to be doing, is they're spraying the skies, and what goes up comes down. And see, a lot of, and what comes up comes down. And they're also not only depopulating us, but they're messing up the crops. And it took me a long while battling with the Monsanto people. And you know, because they're like, oh, chemtrails are fake. I'm like, listen, the Monsanto seeds, okay, are aluminum and mercury resistant. Now, what they're spraying in the sky is mercury, aluminum, barium, strontium, and it's killing not only us, but it's killing our crops. So now, why is Monsanto seeds resistant to this? Because guess what? Whoever, see, we have to understand one thing. They want to control the weather. They want to depopulate the planet, and they want to control what we eat. Now, if farmers cannot produce food, they have to rely on Monsanto. And when they rely on Monsanto, and if you look and study what Monsanto is about, and I'm not trying to be doom and gloom, but it's truth. When you look at Monsanto, you see that their genetically modified food is not good for humans. It's killing off all the bees, and Albert Einstein himself has said, listen, once the bees are involved, humanity has 4 years to live before we're gone.
Mm-hmm. So I have people in the chat room who,
yes,
Paul, who are,
please.
Yes, they're asking, what are chemtrails?
Chemtrails are very different from contrails. Now, see, when a plane flies by, it leaves what's called a commercial plane flies by, it leaves by a contrail, which evaporates within minutes. A chemtrail, on the other hand, when it flies by, it leaves a trail, which basically stays in the sky. It meshes out. When I say it meshes out, it literally meshes out in the sky, and basically stays in the sky, meshes out, and that's it. If you listen to the weatherman, I've talked to Scott Stevens, who's the weatherman. If you watch your local channel news, it says, "Oh, well, today's going to be a sunny day," and you see these lines going through the sky, and you see the lines, and then what happens is they spread out, they mesh out, and then it's no longer a sunny day. What you have is the sun is blocked. Now, why is this? That's what a chemtrail is. It's basically to block the sun, drop the chemicals down, and depopulate the planet and mess up the crops. The chemtrail is basically chemicals being sprayed in the sky.
And does it change the color of the sky and the color of the sun? Because when I've seen them, it looks wrong in the sky.
I wouldn't honestly say it changes the color of the sky, other than taking what would be a blue sky to a gray, hazy gray sky. I mean, you know, I'm 33 years old. I remember when in the 90s that when we looked up in the sky, we seen a sky that was as blue as the color blue. Now, when we look up at the sky, we don't see a blue sky anymore. What we see now is a hazy blue sky. We may see a light hazy blue, but it's not blue. I would honestly say that changing the color of the sun, I haven't seen that, unless we're talking about an astral object that's actually coming past the sun, which is a whole different ballgame.
It just used to look so bright and so yellow, and now it's kind of white and doesn't look right a lot of the time. At least here in South Carolina, it looks different.
Well, see, the thing is, I don't think chemicals that are sprayed in the sky could actually physically change the color of the sun unless it was done in outer space, so to say. Like, they literally blanket the sun. But from the eye's view, yes. I mean, if you spray enough stuff in the sky, it may affect the sun. But the agenda is the agenda, and the agenda is to depopulate the planet. And I know that I love what you guys do, and I love the high vibrational stuff that you guys do. And I think that from one light worker to another, that, you know, we have to understand the darkness to proceed with the light. You know, we can't just say love light, love light, love light, love light without, you know, we can't do this without acknowledging. Once we acknowledge the darkness, we can bring that to light and expose that to light. but we have to bring it to light in a non-violent way.
I agree with you completely. I know that you were part of the Wall Street protests, and I know that your personal mission here, and I'm going to call it a mission because that's what it feels like while you talk.
Absolutely.
Yes, is to make people aware of what's going on. So for those people who are listening, and for me even, how do you start to change the world into a higher love vibration? I know the Wall Street protests were incredible, and I thought, these people are not showing it on CNN or the local news, and here we are on Facebook saying, let's pass this around so people know this is going on. Even Japanese protests that are going on now, it's also hush-hush, and it really just annoys the crap out of me. And
I would love to answer this right away. I'm sorry I'm cutting you off because this is very important, and I love that you brought this up. How do we change the world to a love vibrational state, to a love vibrational level? First off, we have to understand, like I said, that there is darkness in the world, and we have to understand that there is pain and suffering in the world. Now, to actually change this world to a love vibrational state, I think that what we need to do is understanding that the attack on humanity is coming in a conscious level, and that they're hitting us basically via media, via technology, via video games. They are hitting us in every single way they can to bring down our vibration. And like you said, how can we raise the vibration? First off, we have to realize and understand how are they lowering the vibration of humanity. And the first thing is that they're, if you look at the video games out here, there's Call of Duty and Fallout, and there's all these negative games for our youth to see. Now, see, whether people realize this or not, there's a great awakening happening. There's a shift, a global, worldwide shift happening from 3D to 6, 5, 6, 7, wherever our souls go, that's what's happening. And these negative beings know this. So what do we do as a negative being? We constantly push negative vibration. Now, what can we do to stop that? Well, we can start by individually accepting the fact that this is happening. And we can go ahead and say to ourselves, well, we as individuals have a soul experience. Now, okay, fine. I understand that each individual progresses on their own level. I've heard it. I understand that. You can't change people because people, they progress on their own level. Blah, 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 blah. That does not mean that I can't give them a foot in their butt and say, wake up. And I think that the people who say that are disinfos. They're disinformation. And they're part of the agenda, you see, because if one person's asleep and you can tell me, hey, look, this woman is asleep, and just let her go. Just let her go and let her awaken on her own terms. No, I am going to take it upon myself to awaken her because that is what I am here to do. That is what we're here to do. And so to awaken the world, it's going to take that effort. It's going to take, hey, look, my kids have no future. Hey, look, my humanity has no future. So it's my responsibility to awaken as many people to love vibration, to say, okay, this is happening, but if enough of us say in a non-compliant, peaceful way that we're going to hit the streets, quit our job, stop complying to the system, and a peaceful love, because we have to realize this is all mental. If you look back at the ancient Egyptians, one thought could change the world, but a million thoughts could be a cataclysmic love vibration. That is what's going to take to change the world. Is enough of us to get up, get out, sacrifice whatever we think is normal, and sacrifice it and do it. That, honestly, and I think a lot of activists are angry, which they have a right to be. There's people being slaughtered, there's people being killed, and they don't understand vibration. They don't understand love. They don't understand the mental aspect of this. So when I try to talk to them and say, I don't want to hear it, I don't want to hear this. It's war. This is a war. Yes, it is a war. There's a war for your consciousness. It's a war against your soul. So I want to bring them that love vibration. I think I really slipped in the beginning of my career in doing so, because I was all about, well, you know, the Wall Street thing, protest, and which is great. Yes, let's uprise, let's hit the streets. But I didn't do it in a love vibration, but now I am. And before my awakening, I've had someone, they said to me, they said, Paul, they said, dude, if you switch the way you go, you will have an army of love. And at the time, you know, I'm all about fight, and then I never understood that. But sweetheart, let me tell you what, my army is strong, and it's going to be an army of love. And then people say, well, what if we come and we protest out of love and we're slaughtered? It doesn't matter, you understand? Because if you die, when we die, we continue on, and our conscience, our being, our soul, if it's that of love vibration, then we ascend to a higher love vibration. I mean, I'm completely insane. I mean, I want to come back and do it again. You know, but that's just me. I mean, I am a completely insane, lovable humanitarian. I don't care if you're reptilian when we get into the aliens, because positive people, regardless what your being is. I want to come down, and I've always said, you know, people say, Paul, your legacy, you know, how have you did it? I said, listen, I don't believe in saying I want to build a wall of love right away. I want to build you know how I build a wall of love? I want to take a brick at a time and completely place that brick perfectly, brick by brick by brick by brick, until I have that wall of love. That's what I want to do, and that's what's going to awaken humanity, period.
I agree with you completely, and that is what this show is all about. And let me just say to the listeners who just tuned in, I'm with Paul Wesley, a.k.a. Prince Truthchaser, and you can find him at www.princetruthchaser.com. And we were talking all things hidden.
You know, and I
so much
it's
more.
Amazing. It's amazing because I'm so glad that I'm on this show right now, because you've given me the opportunity, and I've done a little research on you guys, or on you, and you're a remote viewer. You've done your research. You see things, and you're love, and I honestly, you know, I'm honored to be here to kind of switch my game from not only awareness of what's going on, but my vibration. And I know that's so corny to some people, but it's amazingly true. Think of it this way. You have this bitter old man, okay? We go to the market. We're shopping, right? Me and Ginger are going to the market. We're shopping for food, and we have this bitter old man, and I look at him in his eyes, and I said, sir, I love you. He breaks down and cries. I mean, that is the power of love. And that is what the Illuminati doesn't want. I mean, and think about recent history. Any violent uprising, any violent revolution, what has happened? What has happened was another regime, another government, has replaced it. And thus the circle of hate continues.
Yes.
Why was Malcolm X killed? Exactly right. Why was Martin Luther King killed? I was on the bus coming home from New York City, and this was the most amazing video I've ever made. It was with the Syria, and I I met this lady who was a colored lady, and she was on the bus with me, and she said, "Sir," and I said, "Yes," and she said, I was like dozing off because I was really tired on the bus, and she said, "Wake up," and I said, "Okay," and she goes, she started talking about activism, and she goes, "Well, what do you do for a living?" I said, "Well, I'm an activist. I'm a Universalist." And she goes, "Okay, well, what kind of activist are you?" And I said, "Some activist of love." And she looked at me, because first she said, "Well, are you one of the Wall Street guys?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm one of the activists of love." And she looked at me with the most amazing eyes and cried. And she was, I think she was like 88, 90. And her family had came and I said, "Are you okay? You're okay?" And they looked at me like I did something, And she looked at me and she said, "It was the most amazing thing I've ever heard since I've marched with King." And that has changed me. And I think through abductions, through seeing chemtrails and exposing chemtrails and Monsanto, I think that it's key. I really think that it's vital to expose these things. But what do I say? It's resistance and knowledge is necessary, but love is key. And I think that from deep down in my heart that that stands true, because it really does. It really does, because regardless if you're abducted, like I was visited by a group of feline beings, and I've said this on a lot of radio shows that I've been on. They're the Lyrians. You have the Pleiadians, the Arcturians, which are the positive greys and the positive reptilians. And so you have to understand that. You have to understand. I'm not going to stand here and say Lizzie, because I don't believe that. I want to find the love in every being that I can possibly find. So, yeah, exactly. And so I was being abducted. I was in the process, and this is when my baby girl was living with me, and I was, living with her by myself, and I was in the middle of sleep and awakeness, and it was just me and her, because she was living in my house, and I was basically raising her myself, and they came for me to abduct me, and all of a sudden these two huge feline race of beings stepped in front of me, and this overwhelming feeling of love, and this negative being disappeared. Now, there's a lot of people who are pro-gray, the pro-Zeta, you were born into this. You know what? I don't want to hear that. You don't take my free will. You don't touch me and take my free will. I don't want to hear about a contract I signed, because I didn't want to sign one. My mom was a high priestess in Wicca. She knows about universal love. She knows about love of nature. And guess what? She wouldn't recommend it. And I am not recommending it. Okay? And it's amazing that I was actually blessed to be in contact with these beings. Now, I've had a dream. And Ginger, you're, like I said, you're amazing. You're a remote viewer. It doesn't get any better than that. It doesn't get any better than that. I mean, I've heard Ed Dames, I think, was the first remote viewer I've actually heard. I think it was on Coast to Coast. I was blown away by what I've heard from him. So to actually be on the show with you, it's simply amazing. So, wow, I love you. Like, you're amazing. So, yes. So I had this dream, and after this, I know I'm babbling, but I'm in the groove. So I had this dream, and they came to me, and they grabbed a hold of me, and I was shown in front of this tall feline being, and I was told the Sphinx. The Sphinx was a feline. The Sphinx they found on Mars, the Sphinx they found underneath the Atlantis, the ocean, and I was told love is key. And I think in the midst of my career, once I was shown to this thing, he just shook his head no, and he took me. I cried my eyes out, and they took me away. And to me, it was kind of like I wasn't ready, and I want to be ready. I want to be ready. You understand? Like,
I do.
In my videos, sweetheart, I just want to let your viewers know, I curse. I swear I curse. I'm nitty-gritty. I'm down. I'm raw. And that's not for a lot of people. It's really not. But the reason that I do this is because I want to awaken the people. Like, if you look in the city of Philadelphia, there's, millions of people, and a lot of them are poverty. A lot of them come from that lifestyle, and they're the people we need to wake up, because they're the people that are oppressed. So I have to get down in that nitty-gritty, dirty level and then show them love vibration. Do you get what I'm saying? Because I'm like,
I do, because, when I always say, if you're going to work with the dark, you're going to meet the light, and then you're going to have to make a choice between the light or the dark. But sometimes when you have to deal with the dark, you have to become the dark. So
and it's not even about becoming the dark. I kind of feel like I am. I'm not even going to say I'm light, because I'm not going to go in the show and BS you. Listen, I don't claim to be the light. All I want to do is I want to dig deep down in the darkness and bring as many people as I can to the light. And I don't care. I've been called crazy through the chemtrail. I've been called crazy through the abduction. I just don't care.
It's what you experience, though, Paul, because...
Oh, my God, I love it.
It's what you experienced. I mean, I experienced ghosts growing up and being attacked by ghosts and dark things and all of that, and I thought I was Looney Tunes for a long, long time, and then I figured out a lot of other people are too, so what, So, and to me, all the things that activists do, it's like a giant and don't take this the wrong way. To me, it's like
No,
a
not at
giant
all.
chess game where you
Right,
have
right,
to
right.
maneuver what's going on, and you have to stand up and say, that's not okay with me. This is what's okay with me, and this is what I'm going to stand up for, and this is what I'm not going to stand up for. And I watch all this stuff, and I know, of course, the news only tells you what they want you to know, so you'll listen to it and feel depressed and get into that dark, negative place. But I sometimes watch those things and look at it and think, where's the chess game going now? What is it they want us to look at? And we're so busy looking at that particular part of the chess game that we're not paying attention to the part where our king just got taken and we're at war with Syria, you know, or we're not paying attention to what's going on with Monsanto, and we allow things to happen with that are not in our best interest, that will eventually kill us because their seeds are poison. And it's, to me, it's like a world chess game. And then we have the alien energy coming in, which pretty much trumps the game all the way around, in my opinion.
You're so amazing. Like, I am so glad I'm a guest on this show. You are so amazing. And
Thank
this
you.
is
So
where,
are you.
And this is where, you know, and I've listened to some of your shows where you can feel energy. You can feel angels and you know, you can feel what is it? I stutter a lot because I have a disability with that. But you can see familiars and angels and all. But you know, and I just want to say, I don't care if I have angels. I don't care if I have familiars. I am here. I am ready. And you are so amazing. Like, your energy is so amazing. Like, you are so right. It is a chess game.
Thank you.
And
that's how I see it.
It is, hon. It is a big distraction.
It is. And you
they
know that movie,
around. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
You know that movie, Wag the Dog?
Yes.
I love that movie because everything that I see going on in the media is a great big wag the dog where they show you only what they want you to see. And while you're paying attention to what it is they want you to see, something grave happens where we don't have a say in it, and they slide it in government, and then we're all screwed.
Exactly.
And I've seen it happen over and over and over again, especially in Obama's term and in Junior Bush's term. And I watch those things happen, and I think, why are not we the people standing up in unity and in love, as you put it, because that's the only way to win it. Why aren't we standing up and saying, look, we love our lives, and we're not going to let you screw around with it and ruin it?
Well, see, the key is when it comes back to mind control and mental manipulation of the conscious and of the soul. And I think that through Bush's term and through Obama's term, we have to understand that these beings, because I'm not going to call them people, these beings have an advantage of us because, you know, they give us the internet, they give us games, they give us technology. So see, now our forefathers are rolling over in their graves right now because if any of this stuff would have happened 100 years ago, they'd have been like, give me my mosh kit, give me my peace flag, and let's get it on. We're marching, we're saying either there's peace or you're out of office. And they have mentally dumbed down and conditioned society to the point right now to where it's like, well, okay, things are going bad. Okay, Obama just signed a couple of executive orders, the NDAA. Basically, you can't protest. You're going to be thrown in the FEMA camp. You can't do this. You can't do that. Homeland Security just, ordered 40 billion rounds of ammunition and, 4,000 armored tanks because they know that the awakening is here. But, let's just give them the time. Now, see, the reason people aren't waking up is because they're so comfortable. Oh, my God. They're so comfortable right now, and what's going on is it takes too much effort in the fight. They'd rather lay down and be comfortable being a slave than lose their comfort.
So do you think, Paul, that in the very near future, especially with all the rumblings going on in Syria, which I'm sorry, I really feel like a whole lot of that is another situation that is not what it seems to be, because it feels like a setup to me in a whole bunch of ways to go to war and make more money. Do you feel like we, the people, are going to stand up against our government soon?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I say this with all the love from my heart. Absolutely not. I think that what is going to happen is that they're going to continue to pass laws that are going to restrict us protesting. They're going to continue to ammo up, which Homeland Security and Janet Nemapala, whatever the hell her name is, they're going to continue to prepare and ammo up. And then not at all. Humanity's not going to step up because the game is too far ahead and we're too far behind. I think that by the time humanity wakes up, and when we realize we have been bamboozled and we have been tricked and we have been manipulated not only mentally but on a spiritual level, that by the time that we do wake up, they have the guns, they have the say, and it's a choice. Either fight through low vibration or die. Another question is, exactly. So the question is, how many people are going to be willing to do that? Oh, I am. Yes, I am.
I want to see change. I want to see my grandchildren have a chance to survive and be treated in a way that's honorable and lovable for them to go on in the world. But the way things are going, to me, it's scary. It's
be
really
honest,
just scary.
Just be honest. It is very dim, and I think that by you speaking out on the show and me speaking out on the show, will awaken enough people. And I think, again, it comes back to an experience of the soul. And I watched a lot of your stuff, and then you have a lot of stuff about the experience of the soul. And I think that, can we save the millions? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But, if you ever watched that movie, I think it's called Mark Carter, or, oh God, what is it called? It's not Mars. I think it's called Mark Carter. And at the end of the movie, there's a hybrid, and Mark Carter gets lost on Mars, and he's saving the world. And actually, this is a reptilian. He's like the king of reptilians, and he unites with them. And the hybrid touches his hand and says, "Don't worry about it. There's nothing you can do because this is pre-planned." And this is really what's happening on Earth. You want the truth? Earth is being depleted of all its resources right now, and this has been pre-planned. And it's a chess game. And what they're basically doing is they're depleting this virgin, beautiful planet, Mother Earth, of everything she has, and they are they're keeping us asleep, and there's nothing we can do unless we awaken. And we can't awaken everyone. We can't. So say we can't. Say that you fight for your grandchildren, and I fight for my kid, and we die. When we die, our soul carries on. And being as the fact that there is time travel, being as is the fact that dimensional realms are like a blanket. You have 3D, 4D, 5D, 6D, whatever. Being that this is possible, I am a firm believer that in another existence, in another reality, there is a peaceful Earth. None of this is going on. None of it. Peaceful, love vibrational state. But because we are who we are, that people say I'm we're in whatever, I don't want to hear that. I'm just me. People may say you're whoever you are. I believe that in this existence we have to. It's a game, hon. It's a game to be played for our soul. You understand? So exactly, babe. So this is our time to shine. So what we do here now is to help cleanse this dimensional existence. Even though there's paradise on the other dimension, it's our job to make sure that we make this existence as beautiful as we possibly can. And I think that's why so much cataclysm is here, so much negativity is here through chemtrails, through Xantho, because they know. We're talking about beings that are way ahead of us. And they came to this reality, and they selected our government, and they said, look, we'll give you whatever you want. We want this dimension. We want this reality to ourselves. Continue with the plan. Well, and that's what's going to happen, is that they're going to continue with the plan. So would I honestly say that there's going to be a massive uprising? Not at all. I think that, if it happens, that it has to be with love and not hate. And if it doesn't happen, I think it basically comes down to an individual. I'm stuttering that. If it comes down to an individual, collective soul consciousness, to where as individuals we make it the best that we can, and then as individuals we have a choice if we want to go to a higher dimensional reality if we want to, because we as individuals chose to heal the world and other people. And honestly, I'm completely insane. I want to say this whenever I am. I'm completely insane, and I want to come back. I love this.
You have to come back. So let me ask you this. We're running out of time, but
that's fine.
Because you're an activist and an amazing humanitarian, and I love listening to you. I could listen to you for hours because you have so much passion in what you do, which I just absolutely adore. We, as individuals, which you were just talking about, we're not all activists, but we can all be humanitarians. So how can each one of us, like tomorrow, when we get up and we're drinking our coffee and getting ready to go to work and we're watching Robin on CNN Morning Express, what can we do as individuals to shift some of these things that are going on so secretly? What can we do, not in a hateful, hurtful way, but what can we do to shift it?
It's excellent. It's an excellent question, and I think that there's a lot of people out there who are disabled. There's a lot of people who are wheelchair bound. There's a lot of people who just basically work 9 to 5, and their limitations in their consciousness, they think that they can't make a difference. I think to answer that question, as a person myself, I think that what we can do is first acknowledge the situation that's at hand, and acknowledge the fact that we do have a choice to spread love vibration. And I think that once we acknowledge as an individual being, as ourselves, that we do have that conscious choice to manifest our own reality and that be a love reality, I think that that's all that matters. I think that even if we can't get out and stuff, that's fine. You don't have to get off your couch. You don't have to get off your couch to make a difference. You know what you can do? If you have a family, if you have friends, what you need to do is you need to say, you know what, I want to make my family's life and my friend's life as possibly beautiful as I possibly can. That way, if you physically or just, cannot get out there and do what I do, that's fine. Just once you get that information in your head of what's going on and that make it your duty as a being to go out and to make as many people that aren't aware. You don't have to go out and say, there's chemtrails. If you don't want to do that, fine. Don't do that. Don't talk about chemtrails. Don't focus on, some people say don't focus on the negative. Look, I don't look at it that way, but you don't have to do that. What we need to do is make each other's life as physically happy as possible. Whenever, they say senior cancer, this or that, or worse. Look, when the war hits the fan, you hug your children, your grandchildren, and say, I love you with unconditional love, and I want you to know that love is key, and that's all you need to do. That's all we can do. It's my best advice.
Awesome answer. Amazing answer. So, we're pretty much out of time, but where can people find you?
Yes, www.PrinceTruthchaser.com, YouTube.com/PrinceTruthchaser. And again, I am very aggressive on some of the videos. I have a couple of light worker videos that it's like, where I expose some of the light workers that don't want to bring to light the dark, and that's just how I am. Listen, you can find me there. Some things you will not agree with, but the one thing that you can agree with, if you have an open heart and an open mind, and have free will, is that love is key. And I do support love because love is key. So it's PrinceTruthchaser.com, YouTube.com/PrinceTruthchaser. I just want to say thank you so much for having me on here, and it would be great to come back on. You guys are amazing.
Thank you, Paul. I so appreciate you being here and talking about all the things that you've shared with us tonight. And I just wish you so much positive energy to go out and ripple out your message and let it ripple out to the masses so they can hear you and wake up and become aware of all these secret things that are just being shoved down that we cannot fix.
Resistance is necessary, but love is key. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Well, thank you, Paul. Come back and see us again, and thank you to everybody who's listening tonight. And as we always say at the end of the Butterfly Effect, go out and share a smile with a stranger, give someone a compliment, share a lot of hugs, and ripple out some positive energy into the world, because what you put out comes back. So I wish you all a wonderful week, and thank you for tuning in tonight on the Butterfly Effect radio show. Have a great